It was a bleak winter night with darkness spread across the limits of sight. The sky was beclouded with dense black clouds. It was growing damp due to colliginous fog. With all these hindrances, I decided to add more adventure and flavor to my trip and continue it at night too. An inner voice told me to camp the night in a safe place and continue in the morning, but I insisted on traveling the same night as it seemed lots of fun at the time, so I started driving. I wasn't even halfway through yet, and the outburst of an imminent storm crossed my path. Starting with gusts of wind followed by the heavy rainstorm, now it was hailing, with literal bomb-sized ice rocks falling from the sky right at us. I got hit badly. All of a sudden, I caught sight of a small, stranded house very far away, a few miles off the road. I drove to that house and immediately went to seek shelter. The house seemed old and abandoned for a very long time. The storm didn't seem to set for the whole night, and we decided to stay at the house until then. I knocked at the door, and a strange, wicked person with a half-closed door looked through and inquired, "What's your business here? Run away to a safer place while there's time. I cannot let you in here." I responded, "Sorry to disturb you, sir, but I don't seem to have a better place except for your house to stay for tonight. If you allow me to stay here for the night, I'll be grateful. Otherwise, I might die in this cruel storm." To which he didn't bother and banged the door closed by saying, "Doesn't matter. Either of us will die here anyway tonight if you stay." I desperately wanted to use the bathroom, so I went from the back door and entered the house. The house was very old, and everything seemed antique and abandoned for a very long time. Then I found the bathroom and used it. I heard someone barefoot walking with the sound of a splash. Every step was as if someone is walking barefoot on wet mud, violently bashing its feet on the mud. The sound of steps intensified, and I started shivering. I couldn't even call anyone for help due to the fear. Gathering all the courage I had left, I bent over to peek from the space between the floor and the door, if someone was there or if something is just splashing the water. I saw crooked feet drenched with mud all over them, and I could hear the voice of bones of its feet cracking as they move. I got terrified with my eyes wide open. I forcefully tried to quiet myself with my own hands. I was still in a bent posture. My face was stuck, but my eyes were moving along the movement of crooked feet. I tried to find my phone, but then I realized that I had left it in the lounge. In this effort of finding my phone, I lost sight of my feet. I turned to find those feet again, but I couldn't do so. Then I caught the sight of those crooked feet soaked with wet mud with strangely curved fingers. I got flabbergasted the moment I caught that sight. I closed my eyes and started calling Bruce for help. Suddenly, everything became quiet, and the doorknob started turning, and slowly I raised my eyes. The moment I raised my eyes, the door slammed, a horrifying sight of a woman with her face covered with long, wet hairs dripping water, her creepy smile with her mouth wide open, her filthy teeth and grimy lips, and her red eyes shining like fire were visible but partially hidden beside her smudged wet hairs. I screamed, and the door was closed with a bang. Then I raised my eyes again, and I saw the housekeeper standing in front of me as if nothing had happened. This was getting weirder and weirder all the time. He took me to the lounge and gave me water to drink. Meanwhile, he went to the basement for some time and returned. The man told me, "My name is John, and I've been the housekeeper for 30 years now. Since then, I've seen lots of people die here because they went against the rules of the house. You are very unfortunate that you came here and against the will of the house. You have put both of us in danger." Right from that moment I stepped inside the house, I experienced this unusual and bizarre feeling. The noiseless environment was like shouting at me to run away. I asked John, "You said you've seen lots of people die here? Why didn't you save them? And how are you still alive?" John just smiled and didn't respond to this question. And I heard a knock on the door and this extreme thunder. I looked at the door and then looked at John, but he was gone. I fell off the chair and ran, found the basement and rushed in. I saw a frightening sight of a demonic ritual set up. Candles and ritualistic accessories all over the Star of David made a place for a body to lie down in the middle to make a sacrifice. I saw a book on the shelf on the right side of the basement. The book stated the whole story of this demonic house. It started 30 years ago when John used to work for a family. The family used to come to this house to spend their summer vacations, and throughout the year John was appointed to live in the servant quarters to take care of the whole house. The loneliness throughout the year compelled John to find his interests in black magic that he inherited from his ancestors' morbid black magic book. He started worshipping a demon, and in return, the demon started rewarding him with evil. The main cult of worshipping required a human blood sacrifice from John. The very next summer, since the demon worshipping, John killed the whole family along with the kids and sacrificed them to the demon, and started using the whole house for worshipping. Whenever he used to think about the people he killed, he used to regret his existence and the sinful acts he committed. Because of this regret, he tried to commit suicide several times, but the demon did not let him live and neither let him die. He used to write everything on his book and always kept it safe. The book stated that it's been 30 years since John the housekeeper sacrificed several people to the evil spirit of the house, and the evil spirit let him live in return for those sacrifices. The demonic statue right behind the Star of David seemed to have all the powers of this evil spirit that was keeping John alive and making him sacrifice lives over it. I wrapped my cross locket in my hand and picked up the sledgehammer in the corner of the basement. I went straight for the statue and broke it. The house was overwhelmed with the screams of demons as I hit the statue, and I heard John screaming for his life. Then I ran to the open door of the basement. John was lying on the floor. The spirit killed him too. The storm had just settled down, so I went for my car, started it, and went straight back home after this traumatic incident. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Dr. Scare to be the first to get notified of more horror and crime stories.